life is an obscure hobo bumming a ride on the omnibus of art.
A Bucket of Blood is the appropriately dark yet amusing title for this black comedy horror, but stands as a prime example of Roger Corman's filmography. Low in budget, but high in entertainment and charm. It also gives us the defining performance from lovable character actor Dick Miller, in one of only 3 starring roles throughout his 65-year career. Dick Miller plays Walter Paisley, a rather brainless busboy for a local beatnik hangout. As he collects the dirty plates and cups from the tables of seemingly distinguished artists, he dreams of entering their world as an equal. He yearns for their success, the respect they garner, and the love of his longtime crush, Carla. But poor Walter has no discernible talent, and is forced to haunt the periphery of this hipster scene like a ghost. That is until, in a fit of frustration, he accidentally murders his landlady's cat. Horror films and cats. Name a more cursed duo. Messed up in a wave of guilt, grief, and ambition, Walter casts the deceased pet in clay, and thus his first masterpiece is born. The morbid sculpture becomes the height of culture, and Walter achieves a slight sweet taste of his goals. But in order to truly succeed, he requires more murdered subjects to bathe in clay. So begins Walter's descent into murder and madness. One of the film's most compelling attributes is the relentless tongue-in-cheek humor, almost always at the expense of the beatnik community.
Walter, I dug it.
My cat?
Walter, you've done something to me. Something deep down inside of my prana.
I have?
The artsy-fartsy scene that emerged in the 50s is the clear target of Corman's sardonic gaze. Skip ahead to any point in the film, and you'll be no more than 20 seconds away from any given parody or jibe.
Man, like that was the greatest gas I ever heard.
Crazy, what did he say?
Didn't you hear him?
No, man, I'm too far out.
From the substance-abusing lazy hangabouts to the overarching theme of the Beat Generation's shallow circle of celebrity that so readily shifts from ignoring a mere busboy to treating him like a god. The poet Maxwell is a particularly enjoyable imitation of the pretentious artist type, his self-importance almost dripping from his theatrical voice, down onto his amazing tuxedo and sandal combo. Besides that incredible dress sense, my other favourite joke comes in the form of a folk guitarist who is performing at the bar. Walter has begun his murdering spree and is building his new image, while the performer sings, "Go down, you murderer, go down," in the background. But if there's only one reason to watch A Bucket of Blood, it is to see Dick Miller at his very best.
Don't you like it?
Catching him in bit parts over the years, such as in fellow Corman alumni James Cameron's The Terminator. It was always a treat when Dick Miller appeared, but he rarely got a chance to truly shine.
You can't do that.
In A Bucket of Blood, Dick Miller completely embodies Walter Paisley. The defensive body language, his meek movements, his innocent but awkward speech patterns, his brief swaggering imitation of his idols, where he can't fully clay over the cracks.
That's not true, I am a sculptor.
Oh, yeah? Prove it. Make something out of this.
There. Hand.
And ultimately, his desperate downfall. The actor clearly put in the effort, which explains why he quite vocally lamented the film's lack of funding. A Bucket of Blood was made for a measly $50,000, and principal photography was churned out in just 5 days. This is of course typical of Roger Corman's cheap style, as Miller would have known himself since they had already made several films prior to this entry. Alas, Miller wished the film had a greater budget. In particular, he criticised the film's final shot, and I have to agree with the man on this one. The theory behind the climax is the story's logical conclusion, and the direction, the editing, the acting is all there. But the poor makeup effect lacks the punch it feels like it should otherwise have. If the final image resembled something closer to Walter's previous statues, the results would be infinitely better. Regardless, A Bucket of Blood still became a cult classic, beloved by Corman and B-movie fans to this day. Joe Dante is a big fan of the film, and proceeded to cast Miller in every single film he made. The character name Walter Paisley became synonymous with Dick Miller too. A running gag saw Miller play characters with that same name, or variations of it, over 10 times right through to the very last credit of his career. Dick Miller passed away in 2019, and left a wonderful legacy behind him. It is just a shame that he was never given more starring roles, because if A Bucket of Blood is anything to go by, he did not need to wait on the sidelines. He could have been a true artist. And with that, we conclude our brief look back at the horror films of the 1950s, a decade of international vampirism, nuclear paranoia, and the rise of the B-movie. From the 10 films selected for this part of the series, I will single out my top 3 of the 1950s. 1952, The White Reindeer, for its gorgeous cinematography and unique Lapland setting and folklore. 1954, Them, for taking what could be a terribly corny premise and crafting a genuinely well-made and effective monster film that serves as a time capsule for the entire period. And 1955, Diabolic, for its masterful mystery and unforgettable finale. That's it for now. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when. Actually I do. It'll be right here on the Haunted Blowfish YouTube channel to dive into the 1960s, where the horror genre will come to colourful life.